The donors, particularly the individual donors that are our target, are really risk averse. Risk averse in some ways that are surprising given how they earned their wealth. But they are concerned about, first of all, that they give philanthropy to a project that doesn't realize the projected impact that it was said it was going to realize, or that fails to execute. They're worried about the reputational risk of people criticizing the choices they've made in terms of philanthropic donations. And they also are people who are used to being in control. And if you make a big bet, and the kind of big bet we encourage, which is a multi-year grant to really give organizations the kind of freedom that Thomas talked about, that means that you're giving up some control over the process. And that's another source of fear. So in order to address that in the work that we've done, what we found is that you have to get them very engaged in defining what criteria they're going to use to make their selection process. You have to have evidence, and this is an issue I think that sometimes is challenging. You have to have a persuasive body of evidence that this particular grant will have the impact that they want. And we have to do a lot of education. We have to remind them about the scale of the problems. And we have to remind them to overcome what I think is sometimes a prejudice, a bias, that the smaller organizations don't have the big ideas that can absorb the big grants. Smaller organizations do have big ideas that can absorb big grants, but we may need to be prepared to support that process, the implementation process. What we found is that many organizations have great ideas, and some of them have piloted them in small ways, but even the big international NGOs have not thought that big before and don't have what I call the engineering plans, how to get from that great idea to actually scaling it up. And so it's necessary for funders to be prepared to invest in that process, like after they have decided on the idea that should get the big bet, to allow some time for the process to play out, to really build out a robust scaling plan, and to put all of the ducks in a row to make that come out to be a reality.